Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, let's get it. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Scotty G and Hands for now. We got some stuff brewing. Let's just say that. Next week's going to be fun. Hey, Lloyd, how you doing? We are live here in Spanish Fork. Love for you to come by because it is a Bar W pop-up. It is, we are in, again, Spanish Fork, the Cal Ranch store, 950 North Main Street. All you have to do is come on by, and you want steaks, you want ground beef. They even have some great jerky as well. Bar W beef here. Now, normally you have to drive down to Nephi to get it or have it shipped to your house. Well, if you're in the Spanish Fork area, just come on by and line up and grab all the steaks, all the beef, and just bring it on home. It's all there for you at Bar W Beef here at the Cal Ranch store in Spanish Fork, 950 North Main Street. And joining us now right out of the gate, when we talk about friends, he is the friend of all friends, Patrick Kinahan. PK, kind enough to join us out of the gate. How are you, sir?
It's funny when you talk about Scotty G and friends because there's a couple of weeks ago when I joined you, and I was doing something with my wife. I said, well, hold on a second. Scotty needs a friend. And then you guys called, and, we did the thing. We talked, and afterwards, she said, oh, is something wrong? I said, what do you mean? Well, you said he needs a friend. Oh, that's the name of his new show. I said, and besides, Scotty, any problems that he got, there's no way I can solve them anyway.
No, I don't know about that. I'm always calling you in weird hours being like, PK, I need some help. Help me out. And you know what? You get back to those mob roots, you know how to solve problems. Let's just say that, man. You take the boy out of Jersey. You can't take Jersey out of the boy. Hey, how big of a deal is –
boy's about – go ahead.
Oh, no, keep going.
Your boy is about ready to be in Nephi. I'm driving south.
Oh, nice.
Heard you talk about what's it called? Bar
W.
Bar W?
Yeah, Bar W. They, in fact, right now we got the pop-up here in Spanish Fork, so we're not quite to Nephi, but we're here in Spanish Fork. And anybody who wants some steaks, they want some ground beef, you got beef tallow, whatever you're looking for, they got it right here at the Cal Ranch store. All right, so breaking news, Rob Wright making his return to BYU, flirted in the portal. Of course, you got Kentucky that went after him hard, but ultimately he decides to stay at BYU. First off, what does this say about BYU when they go toe-to-toe with Kentucky and keep a guy that Mark Pope desperately wanted?
I'm not so sure if it says more for BYU than less about Kentucky, and is that bloom off that rose. I mean, Kentucky is Kentucky, right? They have been an historic program and one of the true blue bloods for many, many, many years. So, yeah, I think you can split it that maybe it's a knock against them. And I wondered how Mark Pope would do under the spotlight. Now, it was hard to win in the West Coast Conference, and you may say, what? Well, the reason why I say that is because, that hard to get kids, what's the incentive for non-LDS kids to go to BYU when they're in the West Coast Conference? Not much. Kentucky's got the money, but you got to win, and is he capable? It's like he got that job because 3 or 4 guys said no, and he was an alumni. He played on the national title team in '96, I think. That's when the Utes were there. But I think Van Horn's junior year, I remember interviewing Mark when he was a player. But for BYU, they're in the game, and they're going to do what they feel is necessary to win. And what that means is you've got to pay, right? I mean, I'm done calling it. It's college basketball. But I'm done when I refer to the NBA, in terms of college basketball, I'm done saying, oh, well, in pro ball, no, because college basketball is pro ball now, right? That's just a fact.
Oh, yeah.
And so they've got the money, and I think it's a good move for both. Maybe they overpaid a little bit, but, there's constant upheaval and turnover. A lot is made with Utah State and the run of coaches that they've had, and they all deserve their accolades, and they all deserve higher-paying jobs, and they got it. But it's not like completely, maybe sprinkle a little bit more. You would know this more than I would, turned over the roster. But the last couple of years, you kept Templin, you kept, obviously, Falslev. And so you had a little bit of continuity, And I think that's what BYU needed this year going into next year. You needed some continuity. You couldn't have everybody be brand new. And now he knows Kevin Young. Kevin Young knows Wright. I think we'll see natural improvement. We tend to judge these guys in snapshots, and that's who they are. And last year, Rob Wright, I know Tim McComb has made some pointed statements about games with no assists. Well, maybe if you have some shooters besides one other who wasn't really totally a pure shooter in the way that Colin Chandler will be, maybe we'll see a different, more modified version of Rob Wright that will be better and conducive to winning. Because why would you want to pass the ball if it wasn't to DeBonsa? Because especially when Richie went down, nobody else can make a shot of any level of consistency.
Yeah. The fact that he is going to be the face of your team, and I know Chandler will be good, and you got the young man Branch, the true freshman, but make no mistake, this is Rob Wright's team. This isn't A.J. DeBonsa. It's nobody else. I mean, he will be the face of BYU basketball going into next year. Do you feel like he's prepared to be able to handle that type of responsibility?
Well, I think he'll know exactly what he's getting into. I think he made some form of – they got so many of these All-American teams, but the academic – I thought I saw something that Tyson, their SID, sent over as far as maybe it was third team – and maybe it was some district or whatever. You know, I got so many of them I can't keep track. But the point I'm making is he's obviously got intelligence, right? If you're making even a third-team academic, that means you handled yourself well enough in the classroom, right? So he should have a better understanding. And I go back into KY's final words, his final interview of the 25-26 season. We're in the hallway at the Moda Center, and he says, shooting is the holy grail for me. I've got to get more shooting. So, all right, you got to take him at his word, right? He knows basketball. He wants more shooting. He wants better shooting. And with that in mind, that gives Rob Wright the opportunity to show a more well-rounded game. Now, he's got to do it. If he's hunting shots all for himself, probably not the best, because the position he plays, you've got to be a leader on the floor. And given the fact that he's going to be, unless I'm, Kadeem Mahbub started a little bit, but he wasn't a full-time starter. I don't think he's put his name in. I haven't looked at the transfer portal in the last 10 minutes, so who knows. But Rob Wright's going to be the only established starter returning, and that brings with it some leadership on the floor, off the floor, get your guys involved, all those types of things. And I'm optimistic that he'll sense the situation and be up for the challenge.
Well, and you mentioned Tim Lacombe. Tim brought up multiple times throughout the season about connectivity, and that you can bring together a lot of superstars and you can bring a lot of very talented players, but ultimately you got to have some level of chemistry, and you have to have some level of guys that are connected together. And I think having guys that are around the program certainly help. You brought up Mason Falslev and Carson Templin. I think it was, Utah State probably had to way overpay to keep at least Carson Templin. Mason Falslev probably came back at market value or a little bit lower. But honestly, when you have guys that know the culture and know what's expected, that can translate through a locker room. So I think that's really important for BYU just from their standpoint. You could spend all kinds of money and bring in, a new batch of superstars, but if you're just cobbling a bunch of guys together and saying go out there and play well, sometimes that's tough to do. To have guys that have been around the program, I think, is really, really valuable for Kevin Young going into this year.
I think it's critical. Go back to the 80s when the Dream Team, they were putting them, not the Dream Team, but the Olympic team, they're putting them together, and they were struggling because we saw the advancements of the international players, and throwing these guys together a couple of weeks before wasn't doing the job, right? There needs to be some level of continuity, and particularly at BYU, and why not have it as a point guard who the ball is in his hands a lot, and he can set the tone. Plus with BYU, it's a different situation for non-LDS guys to come in. We have to acknowledge that. What can you do? They can wear earrings now, but there's still other things that they need to abide by. And Rob Wright can talk to those guys and say, hey, man, we need you to adhere to the rules or whatever it might be, and here's how you do it, yada, yada. I've been through it. You can do it. So I expect Rob Wright to take a much greater leadership role. And that might mean he might have to step out of his comfort zone a little bit because he's a quiet kid, right? He's fine doing interviews. I interviewed him several times. He's got no problem doing that. But maybe he needs to be a little more vocal because I think last year the heart and soul of the talent was AJ, obviously enormous talent. Everybody sees that. But I think the heart and soul was Richie. Richie goes down, and that was obviously a big-time blow. Well, now you don't have a Richie Saunders returning. You got a Dawson Baker. He's more of a role player. And the Kozlowski kid is a local kid, LDS kid. Hopefully he's not injured and he can show what he can do. I saw him play in high school. He's a knockdown shooter. Get him the ball, he'll make shots, get him out on the floor, hopefully for him and for the team. So I suspect that Rob Wright will emerge as the things that you're saying. And there's no question continuity is a factor. They can bring in all those new coaches, and I think the coaches at Utah State, probably Falstaff and Templin, probably told them, hey, some of the things that we do here, and if you're smart enough, you listen to your guys, and then you go from there.
Yeah. By the way, another player coming to BYU, and this is going to go way under the radar. He's not going to move the meter like the Chandler transfer or the certainly Rob Wright coming back. But Jake Whalen, who was, I think he started at Southern Utah, then went to Clemson last year, is now going to be, I think he started at Utah, then he went to Clemson, and now he'll be at BYU. That's the kind of player that I think Kevin Young can really lean on because he's long, he's athletic, but he can shoot. And that's a guy that is going to win you a game or two that you probably have no business winning coming in February or March. One of those guys that afterwards you're like, hey, if he doesn't go 4 for 5 from the three-point line, we don't win this game. One of those role players that are going to step up. I'm not even saying he's going to be a starter, but he provides good shooting. And I think those are the kind of role players you really need to work into your system with a lot of these big guns.
Scotty, man, I thought here you were just a football guy, but listening to you talking hoops is just warming my heart, man. I'm telling you, I want to get down in the stands and guard you next time I see you because you know basketball. That Utah State stuff is rubbed off on you. Yeah, Whalen is absolutely the type of player they need. He's a local kid. I believe he signed with BYU, might have a mission involved, and then went to Utah, and then obviously played. And I saw him play, and I was wondering, why not go after these types of kids? There's a couple other kids out there, too. Andy Toulson's son, you could have used him, and I think it's up to Kevin Young and his staff to show these kids a little more love than maybe they were showed last year at this time that caused them to go other places. Because look at the bench that they had. BYU's bench sucked. Let's call it like it is.
Yeah.
It was just wildly inconsistent, didn't give enough production. I made a statement on the morning show, and that's just one of the multitude of reasons why you should listen to the morning show now and forever, or at least until I'm on it, and then after I leave, I don't care. But I still have several years to go. And I said that this team, don't stay with me, Scotty. Don't make me have to repeat it. I want you to stay on my train of thought. You still
I got
with
you.
me? Are
I'm
you
with
still
you.
with me? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
You're still with me. That BYU's had a lot of teams that made the NCAA tournament, and they'd go one and done, right? I made the statement that this year's past team that went one and done might have had the least depth of any of the teams that had been in that situation before because they didn't have the type of players, the BYU kind of guys. We know who they are. You know, they may not be wildly talented, but if you leave them open, they can make a shot. And they didn't have that last year. We used to joke about it. Man, if one of their guys, not their big three, and then was whittled down to the big two with the injury, if one of them made a shot in the first half, it's like, oh, my gosh, maybe he'll actually make 2 or 3 shots in the second half. You were like, it's almost breathless with anticipation. Oh, can he finally be the guy? And the answer usually was no, no, and no. And we remember Kennard Davis had one good game. I think it was against Arizona, and everybody was going ape, you know what? Because it wasn't there, and they didn't get enough shots. And maybe you could say that, well, that's on KY. Develop the bench early. The bench wasn't developed when they were beating the snot out of some of those teams. So I'm not putting it totally on the players. It's up to the staff to develop the bench and develop confidence in them. But those guys, by the time you got to post-Saunders injury, it's like, my goodness, they didn't have any confidence. It's like when I was first doing the show in the early years with DJ, and he kept telling me I sucked.
Yeah. Well, he still tells me that all the time. But I'm glad you graduated out of that at least.
Well, hey, I will say with him now, he fills an important role in the show as a role player, and I value his contribution.
He's the Jake Whalen of the morning show. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, he can hit a shot now and then, but get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Rob Wright's got to get to the rim. Hey, that's the thing. By the way, congratulations. I don't know if today is the day, but we're close to the 24th anniversary of DJ and PK.
It was last week, and I was talking. Yeah, it was April 8th, and
okay.
I was talking to Tim Lacombe for other reasons that you may suspect. And I was telling him about how long we've been doing the show. And I said, actually, I think it's today. Now, because he was talking about, he was listening in the beginning. And we both of us forgot about it. 24, 20, 25, 30, that type of thing. 24 isn't near as a big deal. But I'm telling you guys, 25 next April, I expect a blowout.
Oh, absolutely. What is 25? Is that silver? What is 25?
I was thinking Showgirls.
Okay, well that works. Yeah. We'll get the girl from Saved by the Bell over here, and off we go.
Oh, Scotty, I'd sign a lifetime contract if you did that.
I'm sure KSL is just lining up for that one. No. Let's go. Absolutely. Hey, Mammoth make the playoffs just to have some meaningful games in the state of Utah in April to get that place rocking. I was there last night. Had my wife and my son and his buddy, and that place was electric. I can't imagine what it's going to be like here in the next couple of weeks when whoever they're up against in the playoffs, because this place they've been starved for a little meaningful playoff competition come April and May, and they're going to get it.
Well, I'm a postseason junkie. The NBA takes a hit on its regular season. Well, the good news is that's over. And we saw last night 2 pretty good games in the play-in. When guys are playing and they're balling out, well, we're going to see that obviously in hockey. And hockey, arguably, is the best postseason that we have in the spring because of the nature of the puck racing up and down that ice. And things can change dramatically. If you're not paying attention the entire time, you could miss 2 or 3 goals in a blink of an eye, literally. And I've been telling Mike Folta, the radio guy we have on Tuesdays, I've been saying, I've been listening to Bill Armstrong come on your show, and they're talking about, and the players, how they love being here, and it's exciting with the crowd. And I keep saying, guys, you haven't seen anything yet, because this town rallies to big events as well as any town, and the weather's going to be good most likely. Being out on that plaza is really going to be something. We've all done it for Jazz basketball. And when you walk in the arena when it's postseason, literally the first step inside the arena, you can tell the difference between postseason in October to the middle of April. And I believe we'll absolutely see that with the Mammoth. And then these guys talk, right? They talk amongst themselves in the league. And the word is already getting out. Hey, what they're building down at Southtown is really incredible and all that. They'll take care of you. They'll pamper you. You'll have everything you need. It's a great organization, or as Bill Armstrong says, an organization. And then the word will get out. And plus the fans will be going berserk. Yeah, I think for the Jazz, too, I think we're now, both teams, it's the same owner, obviously, we're in for something that's going to be a good ride, if not a great ride, for both teams going forward the next few years.
PK, you're the best. Thanks for joining us. I know Lloyd got a hold of you yesterday morning, and you had about 36-hour notice to come on the show. So I certainly appreciate you getting on the schedule and making it work for you.
It wasn't quite that way, and I'm not really a guy who looks at my phone that much. But fortunately, about 20 minutes ago, I looked at it and saw the text. And well, it's all good. It's fine. Anytime.
I love it, man. You're the best. Thanks.
All right. See you guys.
There he is, the great Patrick Kinahan, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, so throughout the last couple days, we've revisited some of the conversations from Jazz Locker Room Cleanout. On Monday, you heard from Will Hardy. You heard from Austin Ainge. Yesterday, you heard from Larry Markkinen. Keyonte George, who made that huge jump from year 2 to year 3. Here's his final media availability of the season. as I know a lot of people are fired up about what he can bring to the table, and for good reason. If he made that jump from year 2 to year 3, what's the ceiling for year number 4 when then all the attention comes on the Jazz in terms of winning? There's no sitting back and waiting and seeing what's going to happen. No, it's like, all right, it's go time. It's time to win games. It's time to get yourself in a situation where you're going to challenge for playoffs positioning. So Keyonte George, is he ready for that next jump to lead a playoff team? Here is the young point guard with the media.
Turn the page the most this season?
I would probably say, I'll probably say mentally, obviously. I talk about it all the time working with Dr. Craig, and I think just the mental aspect, of my game has taken, the physical part to a whole nother level. So I just think, while I was out there this year, having mental notes, proactive self-talk, just things like that, just to keep me in the game. There are times where maybe early in my career, it's still early, but, 2 years ago or a year ago, I may, lose myself throughout the game, even times this year. But I think every year, those certain little moments have, they've lessened. So I think for me, I think I took a big time jump as far as, my mental.
Are your expectations, do you think that your expectations are going to be greater, that you're going to have more pressure, you're going to put more pressure on yourself next season?
I think, just to speak on expectations, most of my expectations are with the team. I know what I'm capable of. I know what Lowry, Wall, everybody from top to bottom, everybody knows what they're capable of. So I think my expectations now is, I expect for us to have, good camaraderie. I expect for us to, come in with a common goal every single day. So that's really just what I expect. I expect every day to honestly be fun. Things have went the way they went, the past couple of years, but I think for us now as a group, and especially with the changes that we've made, I think now we all have not a fresher breath air, but almost a breath of fresh air, but it's almost like, like I said, we just all have a common goal, so it'll be fun.
Do you think that this roster can make the playoffs?
For sure. It's no doubts about it, in my mind. When you look, on paper, we look phenomenal. We're big, have length, can shoot it, can get to the rim. We got multiple defensive guys that can protect the paint, protect the perimeter. When you look at us, we got, all the tools. So that's why I said earlier, I just, expect us to have, great team camaraderie. And like I said, as long as we have a common goal, everybody else will hit their individual goals or, whatever they want to achieve.
You've really grown as a leader throughout these 3 seasons now. At the beginning of the season, we talked about you hosting the guys back in Dallas. But what do you think has been the biggest change in taking on that leadership role and responsibility?
I'll probably say it's just every day. When there's times where, you feel like everybody has those days where they don't feel like, coming in or they got to push through, certain aches and pains. So I think for me, it was just about every day coming in, working, staying true to my habits. And, I think the group, whenever there's a leader of a group, you kind of look at that guy and you kind of say, like, every day he's doing the same thing over and over again, not getting bored, with the simple stuff. So I think for me, it was just, I came in every day understanding, what got me to the point where I am now and kind of just fell back on those things. And, when guys are, leaving the facility and, I may stay back and shoot, it kind of gives them the confidence when we get in between those lines for their 48. They know that I put the work in. So I think to answer your question, it's just about me kind of being almost like this, not getting too high, too low, just trying to, go day by day, understanding just trying to win every single day, and then the days start to stack up.
Where's your game at defensively?
I would just say just holding my ground. Our backline defense is, phenomenal. So, the confidence up top, keeping pressure the ball. I can, try to, speed them up a little bit, knowing that, okay, they get to the in-between game. I know I got guys behind me, but, it's the same thing as, when I was playing, with Walker at first. I mean, I got confidence up top, but, if you beat me down the slot or down the middle, I mean, I know I got Walker at the rim, and, I'll veer off, take care of his guy, and, we just rotate. So, I think for me, next year it's just going to be all about personnel, knowing the guy, his tendencies in front of me, and that'll help me a lot.
Kevin Love has talked about your relationship and your bond. There's a quick exchange that you guys have before tip. Can you walk us through that moment and just what it's been like having him on the team?
Yeah, I mean, K-Love's been, around, my GOAT. So, I mean, it's been a pleasure just to ask him so many questions. And like I said before, I think I'm just really interested in the mental part of the game. So him coming around, he spoke out about that a lot. It was good to have, some side conversations after the games or after practice or on the plane. But yeah, I mean, K-Love, he's big time for me. He empowers me, every single day. He sits, right next to me, at the arena. So if I feel like something's not going my way, at halftime, he may, bring me back, to life. So, that's the type of vet that, I love to have around. And I can also, I can speak for the group too. He's just brings, energy to the group every single day. One thing about K-Love, I feel like I just, never see him have a bad day. Like, he always going to joke. He always going to do his little thing, post on Instagram, stuff like that. So, even if, things are going bad for the team, he always finds a way to, bring us together as one.
There's going to probably be a higher level of scrutiny on this team. What do you think that's going to be like?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, like I said, our camaraderie. And then once it comes to, the dialogue, in between the lines, and there's going to be days where we watch, film for the whole day, and, we got to kind of be honest, with ourselves and be able to take, constructive criticism. Since I've been here, there's been times like that, but, the direction that we want to go to has to be every day, starting in the summer, having dialogue with everybody, and, then we get back and report in a couple weeks before camp and then camp. And so I think, it's going to be a high level of all that. There's going to be some days where we're getting after each other, but I think that's what good teams do. When you can battle against one another, but then, like I said, have a common goal when you go in between the lines. There's no hard feelings. Nobody's in their, like I said, nobody's in their feelings. Like I said, when you have a common goal, you kind of just wash everything out, and, like I said, it's like a brotherhood. So.
Do you think that you're going to see a different side of Will?
Yeah, Will's already a maniac, so he's gonna have his moments, but I know Will. I know he wants the best for us. So whatever that looks like from Will, I know it'll be a lot of screaming and yelling, but it's gonna make us great. Down the line.
Does it surprise you that Nurk said that that this was the first year that he doesn't think that a coach said a bad word to him?
Never mind. I'm not going to say Nurk's lying or he's not. I know what Nurk says to me, though. That's crazy.
Cool. You've talked about the fans and their support.
Yeah.
What excites you most about next season when you think about these fans?
Yeah, obviously it's a new era for us, but, a big, basketball fan. So when you go back to, the Utah teams that were winning and, you see how the fans act, seeing back then when they had them orange jerseys, everybody had white and orange in the stands. I just can't wait for that. Obviously, they have energy every single game for us, but now, when we get high, when we get rolling, I can only imagine what the city is going to be.
As you're kind of envisioning those things, would not making it to the postseason next year be a disappointment?
I wouldn't say disappointment. Obviously, our expectation is to get to the postseason, and we have a couple people on our team that have got there. So I wouldn't say a disappointment, but I think it would be a disservice to ourselves, just knowing the type of talent that we have, and we have people on the team that know what it takes to get to the postseason, and like you said, with the dialogue going around through the team, and I mean, Will and his staff and our staff, like they all know what it takes. They've all been around great players, so I wouldn't say disappointment, but I think we'll be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't come in every day working hard and, like I said, wanting more than, everybody around us. So, I mean, we're young, we're hungry, so anything can happen, but, that's the goal and more.
Great, thank you.
And more. There you go. Keyonte George, great conversation with him in the media, setting the scene and the standard for next season. All right, we are live here at Cal Ranch in Spanish Fork. Now, it is Bar W Beef. We want you to come by and check out some of the best beef. If you've been thinking, you know what, I need to get to Nephi, I need to go to barwbeef.com and try this out, but you haven't done it yet, just come on by here to Spanish Fork, the Cal Ranch store here in Spanish Fork. It's a pop-up location. Everything that's available in Nephi, as of right now, is available here. Now, will it be in 3 hours? I don't know. But if you come down right now, I can guarantee you the ribeyes, the ground beef, all the packages that they have available, they will be ready to go for you right now. So stop by, get it while the supply's here. It's Bar W Beef, a pop-up location in Spanish Fork at the Cal Ranch store. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, let's give away some tickets. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. You'll score a pair of tickets to see Brett Floyd, the Pink Floyd tribute band, coming to the Maverick Center on June 6th. All right, what you may have missed right here on the Zone. I was at the game last night, and we'll chat with Cole Bagley coming up here in about 10 minutes from right now, our NHL and Mammoth insider. But last night, it was an interesting game. And, Lloyd, I know you were watching that game as well. But that first period, it really felt like, obviously, Utah was the better team. And for the most part, it felt like Utah was the better team in their game against Winnipeg last night. And but for the majority of the game, it kind of felt like it was just a one-goal game, 2-1. And then early in the third period, bam, Utah jumps out 4-1. It's like, okay, order's been restored. It's fine. And then you give up a sloppy goal. And then you then you have the penalty. So Winnipeg's on a power play. They score another goal. And just like that, it's 4-3 with about 5.5 minutes left in that game. And you're thinking, are they really going to blow this game to Winnipeg? Is this game going to go into OT? And you may only come out of this thing with 1 point instead of 2? And yet, Utah takes advantage. They scored the goal to give them the two-goal advantage, and then later a shorthanded goal. I mean, not a shorthanded goal, an empty netter, and Utah ends up getting the victory by the count of 5-3. So Utah improves and now lock in that number one wild card spot. And now the question is, who are they going to play? Is it going to be Vegas? You kind of hope so, that it'll be Vegas. I think, Lloyd, that's where you're still at, right? Because that's where I'm at. Give us the Golden Knights.
Oh, I'd take the Golden Knights. Yeah, the Oilers still make me super nervous, but the Golden Knights, I feel like that's a chance to really win a series.
Yes, I agree, and I want this team going deep. It would be great. Obviously, just getting to the playoffs is a monumental occasion for this team, a milestone in the early years. To be able to do what they're doing in year number 2 here in Salt Lake City is just phenomenal. And I know this isn't an expansion team. When Ryan Smith bought this team and moved them to Utah, this was a team that already had its traditions. They already had its roster in place. They had its coaching staff, its general manager. So all the infrastructure was certainly in place, and they were already, well along the path of the rebuild. But to, in year number 2, take this thing to the playoffs and comfortably get them into the playoffs with the number 1 wild card spot, huge accomplishment. That being said, let's get greedy. I want a first round victory. I want to see this team make some noise in the playoffs. And last night, and by the way, props to SEG and the Mammoth organization, because the game presentation is just phenomenal. And I say that after every game I go to. But, I wasn't there covering the game, Lloyd. I was there just with my wife, my son, and he brought a buddy with him. And so we're just sitting there and just enjoying the atmosphere.
You were covering it. That's covering. If you're there, that's covering, man.
I don't know. I was just there eating my popcorn, having my my nachos and my Coke Zero, and just sitting back and enjoying the game. And my kid and his buddy were having the time of their life. It is, by the way, you cannot find a better environment for a couple of 15-year-old dudes. I mean, they are living life. They're seeing some nasty action out on the ice. They're seeing dudes just knock each other senseless. They're hearing a lot of music. There's a lot of giveaways. There's a lot of cool things going on. And, I mean,
Did they chug a soda? Did they chug a soda on the celly cam?
They didn't get on the celly cam, but they had their sodas ready to go.
They partook. That's fun. It's cool. You know what? My kids did the same thing. They had a drink and they were trying to get on the celly cam with a drink by chugging it.
Hey, can we shout out our guy Stevenson Sylvester for making the celly cam?
Oh, heck yeah! By the way, he said he was going to. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Really? Are you? Sure enough, he got on, sent the video as proof, and Sly, he got on that celly cam. That was awesome.
And he did work on that celly cam.
Yeah,
too.
he did. He put his buddy to shame.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. Like that dude, and that's the competitor in Sly. You can take Sly off of the football field, but that you're still going to have that ultimate competitor. And so when he's going toe to toe, chugging a beverage, Sly's going to win. Sly's always going to win that one.
By the way,
right.
Real quick, we talking about who you'd like to see with the Mammoth, the Oilers or Vegas or whatever in that first round. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's never been close with Vegas. Just looking at the three games that they against the Mammoth and Vegas, in the first game, I think they lost to Vegas 4-1. Then the Mammoth beat them two times, once 5-1 and the other one 4-0. So all three games were blowouts.
Wow.
Nothing close. So I don't know what that means, but they do have the series lead, the season lead in the series, in the regular season. So there's just no close games in that matchup. So I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Oh, man. I got people beating me up on Twitter because there was an unfortunate typo on my tweet about Bar W beef.
And I didn't notice it because I retweeted you.
Are you seeing it now?
Oh, hold on. I got to see. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not great. I don't know who's got the nickname the Freezer these days, but that's not great. I'm just waiting for Lloyd to find it because there's going to be a gasp here in about 3, 2, and
Scotty. 1. Oh, what are we doing here?
That's my bad. That goes back to the whole deal thing. Maybe that's just how anyway. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.